So 82-54. I don't know what I expected out of this game. I think you expected this. You were all in on this.
All
right?
in. I was like, what avenue is there that Gonzaga can win this?
There wasn't one.
And we saw not right away, because Gonzaga hung with them for the first 10 minutes. They did. They hung with them.
I mean, every game starts 0-0.
No, but it was like, what, 25-23 at one point?
Yeah, I just don't know what you do.
UConn wasn't making shots.
Yeah.
But, man, this was a absolute domination by UConn. Another one. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the fourth straight that they've pretty much won this one easy. All right, so when you said UConn is back, can I read you a tweet from 2018?
Yes.
So my tweet was, and listen, when he got hired, there was no bigger proponent of hiring Dan Hurley than me. None, period. So my tweet on November 15th, 2018, which was, 4.5 years ago, wonder if the pro Kevin Ollie fans and ex-UConn players still think it was the wrong move to get rid of KO and hire Dan Hurley. This was a no-brainer. Hurley's a grinder and a hell of a coach. Just wait until he upgrades the talent in stores. He took over a complete rebuild. Again, I wrote the story on Kevin Ollie that I think, I'm not going to say contributed to him being fired, but there was a lot of stuff in there about him not grinding. A lot. I talked to a ton of people around the program, and they replaced Kevin Ollie with a guy who is an absolute killer in his work ethic, and there's almost something missing with Dan in a way, because he just needs to prove himself. He needs to win. Again, Andrea Hurley, his wife, summed it up best with Dan Hurley, and she said, when he loses, he's miserable. When he wins, he's miserable. He is never completely happy and never completely satisfied, and that drives him, and that has driven him at UConn to get to this point. And I think he's happy today, but again, I think he's going to wake up tomorrow morning and be like,
"Not wake up." We just talked to him in the back, and he's like, "Yeah, I guess we gotta celebrate at some point." But I already just told my assistants to go start downloading clips of Texas and Miami so we can watch them on the flight back. Like, there's a certain way that he's wired, and I also do think that it's.
I think it's a little brother syndrome a little bit.
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Sure.
Like, is he's never been like the guy. There's always been, when he was a player, his brother was this All-American, the star of Duke, won 2 national titles. Was he a national player of the year or something? Number 7 pick.
Bobby was the guy.
Bobby was the guy. And then when he got into coaching, it was his father was like this Hall of Famer, one of the greatest high school coaches of all time.
You'll never live up to your brother as a player. You'll never live up to your father as a coach.
And until now.
Right.
And now he is in the Final Four with a chance. Like, they're going to be the favorite to win the national title no matter who they play heading into the Final Four. Like, it is I would love to have a real candid conversation with him about that, on like what that would mean to him and how that is kind of. He's a fascinating psychological stuff.
There's no doubt.
There's a lot
That's
going on.
one word for it.
Yeah, he certainly is that. I thought the most telling thing, and this was something small when we were standing on the court after the game, and he's kind of a rebel in that you look at all the guys that are there, they're cutting down the nets. Danny's the only guy with his hat on backwards.
Yes, yes.
And I don't know how many people notice that, but I saw it and I was like, that's very on brand.
Yeah.
He's the only person with his hat on backwards.
Yeah, speaking of his hat on backwards, I was able to catch up with Dan Hurley after the game in the back. Our cameraman was Jeff Goodman. Don't judge us if the shot isn't great, but we were able to catch up with Dan. Let's cut to that interview now. Welcome. Now let me welcome onto the Field of 68 After Dark, UConn head coach Dan Hurley. Just made it to the Final Four. UConn's officially back, right?
Yeah, it's coming is now done. We're back. I think we're back.
So just when you guys were going through that bad spell in January, right? Did you still believe that this group could get to this point, that they could get to this level again?
I mean, a level of the performance that we've played at through these 4 games in terms of, the way that we've dominated these opponents. I knew we could advance. I knew we could definitely make a run. The Big East just in general gets underrated in terms of the quality, especially the top 4 or 5 of that league was a monster this year. And I just knew that, once we got to the NCAA tournament, the games get officiated a little bit tighter, and there's a little bit more freedom of movement. It's less of a UFC fight and more of a basketball game. So did I think we would dominate this level of quality opponent? Probably not, or definitely not, but I knew we could be where we are right now.
Adama Sanogo, been one of the best players in this tournament to date. The passing today, 5 assists. Are you going to take credit for that?
No, I'm going to give that to Luke. I got Luke and Kamani have done an unbelievable job with the guards and the bigs. Those are two guys whose phone should be ringing off the hook for head coaching opportunities. They're two of the best in the country, and Luke's done a great job with Adama, just getting him to buy in, helping him kind of develop the fundamentals and the vision to be able to deliver it. And then we did a bad job, I think, of deploying, Andre during that one stretch of season in terms of where could we put him when people are guarding them the way that they were, and so I think it's a combination of Adama's skills developing and us being smart enough to put Andre in the right spots finally.
Yeah, unlocking Andre to me is the key to this team hitting their ceiling, right? What's different? You're putting them in short corners. You're using them as a roller. Is it just about making sure that defender is engaged?
Yeah, there's places that you could cut him from. We went to school on some NBA things in terms of what they do with guys who aren't that get played soft, and so as a cutter. He's got a free run to the offensive glass if they're going to play him like that. He could get into pass follows with our guards that can really shoot. Now people are forced to go over screens with him, and now he's rolling and he could attack the rim. And then we also just pleaded with him to play that maniacal defense and don't get rattled by it. Get on the defensive glass and push that ball in transition, because there's no one more exciting to watch in college basketball in the break than Andre Jackson.
You're in the Final Four. Does it feel as good as you thought it would feel?
Yeah, it feels great. I mean, it's exciting. I mean, you know me. I think as soon as I walked in, I think Kamani said, so it's Texas or Miami, right? And then I asked him to put some, download some of both teams so we could watch them on the plane tonight. So that's just a way that, that's how we were all wired, man. It's like, but I think we'll enjoy it tonight on the plane. We'll have a good time on the flight.
What are you celebrating with?
I'm a tequila. I'm a tequila drinker.
There you go. Well, listen, I hope you have quite a few tequilas. I had too many last night. Feel 68 after dark.
I will not have them on the plane in front of the student athletes, though.
Smart answer. Today's episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em, where you can get a little extra sweat during March Madness and win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's games. In Pick'em, all you do is predict whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether that's points, rebounds, whatever. For example, if you're like me and you think Zach Edey is going to go nuts in this tournament, pick higher on his points projection, add up to 4 more picks, and if you hit them all, you can win 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured it out. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, FIELD, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. Now is the time to get in on the madness. So remember, UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code FIELD.